Well, I guess it's only fitting that when you throat punch a dude, he makes a ridiculous shot to win the game and end the winning streak for the Bruins. Can't get revenge against the Utah Utes.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Chalk that one up to another frustrating loss for the UCLA Bruins. A game late where they could have won, should have won. And again, this is a season where UCLA has had many of these opportunities. Wins out there to get against pretty solid basketball teams. And the Bruins can't come away with the win. They could have had a sweep this week, could have swept the Arizona school so many times in non-conference play that now UCLA is sitting here pretty much with only 1 week to play for in Las Vegas, as opposed to an opportunity to where they should be in a better bubble conversation than they are. But that is the ups and downs of a young team. Mistakes, whether it be mental, physical, or in this case, a throat punch to Brandon Carlson, leading to the ejection of Sebastian Mack. It's a 1-point game. You talk about a flagrant 2, free throw shots, the ball, you kick out your leading scorer. Their leading scorer gets to hit the game winner on top of all that. And the Bruins fall 70-69 to Utah. What was already an outside shot to make the NCAA tournament as an at-large has shrunk to what could possibly be a 0.1%. If it wasn't already really slim margins, this is as small as it gets to an at-large bid without needing to absolutely win the Pac-12 tournament. This loss, not terrible by any stretch of the imagination, but you couple that with the missed opportunities, the blown 19-point lead versus Arizona on the road. You had this game not closed out, but there are many chances to close this game out, whether you're up 3, you're up a bucket to get it to 3, you had a chance to win it up 6 to put this game away. You let Utah twice in the final minute score a bucket, including the inbounds pass where they throw it across. The layup goes almost over the backboard, hits the top, only to find a sprinting, hustling Brandon Carlson from half court to tip it in practically at the buzzer. And the Bruins fall. Now there's many debates as to whether UCLA should have taken a timeout in the final 6 seconds, because the way they play defense in those final 6 seconds, other than a Dembona who nearly saved them only for it to hurt them, they play defense like Utah scrambled after a made bucket with no timeouts and got up the floor. But Mick Cronin called timeout, and that led to a beautiful play. Brandon Williams getting screened, their point guard running up the floor, going with the chance to float with the game, and then an offensive rebound putback wins the game for the Utes. Now, if Bona swats it, if he touches, that ball goes even out of bounds by an inch. UCLA practically wins this game probably. But that's just how this season has been, a game of inches. You go back to Marquette. You go back to Gonzaga. You go back to Nova and Ohio State, who just took down Purdue, for heaven's sake. That's just how the season's gone. Many different things. But can you really sit there, especially for a team that really put its heart out there? There's 2 glaring things. And while, yes, Adem Bona really struggled, although he nearly made the defensive play that saved the game, 4 personal fouls, 18 minutes, 7 points, when the Bruins absolutely needed him against these sides of the Utah Utes. They needed him in this game. It really comes down to your leading scorer. And I think there will be more after the recording of this podcast, and I just am not privy to at this moment, as to why Mack did what he did. Does it stem back to Salt Lake City? Is there something that was going on? I have no idea, because there's really no reason, there's no reality that you should just go elbow, throat punch a dude, regardless of what he said. You know, there's so many things. You could throw out many things. But at some point, you got to try and keep your cool as best as you can. And Mack lost his cool in the 1-point game that was extremely devastating. You lose your leading scorer, who wasn't playing terribly to start. And you just gave Utah the extra juice. Who makes the game-winning bucket makes it even more of a sick feeling. Because remember how terribly the Utah fans treated Lazar Stefanovic. They treated him terribly in Salt Lake City at the Huntman Center. They did not deserve to win this game. UCLA, despite all they did to cost themselves the game, did enough to win this game. In the end, they still cost themselves the game in the final few seconds, which is just another story for a team that had a 6-game winning streak, could have been 7, it could be a much longer streak. Now they have a week to sit on it. Cronin is going to be in his team's ears. He's going to be in there all week, because you're going to get a sellout crowd for when USC comes to town. You're going to hear that all week. Cronin's going to be in Sebastian Mack's ear. I wonder if he'll be suspended a game or if he's going to have to come off the bench. Well, what's going to happen? What's the aftermath? What's the effect? What's the repercussions of getting ejected like that? Not like one of those weird review kind of goofy flagrant twos. That was deliberate to the throat in front of everybody on national television. That it does not go unseen, unheard. That was right there for the taking. So it's just frustrating. So that even despite a Dylan Andrews bucket, who's proven to be a clutch guy when it comes to late game scenarios, he needed a jumper, hits it. When it came to Riverside earlier in the year in November, he goes to the cup, or in December, whenever it was, lays it up for the win. Stefanovic got points. You got to give the love to Will McClendon, 9 points, 9 rebounds. Tough to do that off the bench. Stefanovic, much better performance. And even though he did not shoot well, Stefanovic still made some clutch shots late. And most importantly, he played a lot better than he did in 40 minutes because he had to play a bunch of minutes today against Utah. And then you had Berke, who played much better in more minutes, 17 minutes. Would love to see him get that fall-away jumper down, because if he makes one of those, that ices this game, despite the Bruins shooting 24% from three. They made their free throws. They didn't turn it over. They were +7 in points off turnovers. Another rebounds. They had 2 more offensive rebounds, more second chance points, more bench points, even in the paint. And it came down to one last hustle play, sharing the basketball, and Utah did what they needed to do to win this game. Because Smith with 17, Badgemo with 11, Utah hit their shots. Brandon Carlson hit his shot, 17 and 7. And the Bruins are going to pretty much have to wait till Vegas to make the run. They're making their run. That's great. They're surging. But this loss really cost them. The loss that they needed to take is one on the road in Washington, against Washington State or Washington. The way this happened, the way this played out, I'm not sure you're going to get done any favors, even if you win the rest of your games leading up to the Pac-12 tournament final. That's just where this leads for UCLA. 70-69. The slaughter in Salt Lake City and the crushing defeat in Pauley Pavilion to get swept in the regular season by Utah. Frustrating, to say the least. Hopefully you get a third chance against them in the Pac-12 tournament. You talk about seeding. That's crucial, right? Because the Bruins were right there battling for the 3, for the 2 seed. And now you're flirting back with the 4 and still trying to get that first round bye, as opposed to avoiding Arizona at all costs in the Pac-12 tournament until the final, avoiding tougher matchups. That just makes your life tougher. So you still got to win all these games. They still got to play. They absolutely have to keep going. But all these wins are just stacking up to improve their tournament hopes in the Pac-12 tournament, as opposed to the NCAA tournament, which was very slim. What Ben Bolch was talking to Joe Lenardi about, right? LA Times talking to ESPN's bracketologist about slim margins get even slimmer. Slimmer. That's razor thin. That's not even razor. That's slim. That's less than razor thin. You talk about like those smooth shape. It's very, very minute what the Bruins have to do. Everything has to go perfect. They make it at large berth. And that's not even in the question right now. Because you lose a game like this, you don't even deserve to make the tournament. You just have to win your way in. That's where the Bruins are right now. Frustrating. And I don't know what Mack did. I don't know why he did it. Kudos to Carlson. If that was uncalled for and he just made a bucket to win the game, that's kudos, dude. That's the way you do it. That's just frustrating. Especially with the way the women lost on Friday. I know they did beat Oregon and dominated them, but the way the women lost after the final 15 seconds in Corvallis on the Friday night, oh my goodness. That was a pretty crushing 1-2 UCLA loss right there, the men and the women this weekend. That was oof. Oof, da. My goodness. Yeah, we'll get back to it. We'll talk more UCLA football, what's going to come up with Deshaun Foster. Basketball, softball starting. They haven't come off as well. Baseball with the great sweep against Gonzaga. A lot to come on here with Locked On UCLA. We'll talk about that more next in the coming episodes for Locked On UCLA. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets winning any $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. All you got to do is bet all your favorite NBA players and teams, quick bets, live same game parlays, and exclusive props. All you got to do to get those exclusive props, FanDuel.com/lockedon, and shoot your shot. FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Gametime is the fastest and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. And right now, hey, check it out, because maybe you want to get to that UCLA game, despite all the frustration of this last game. But that UCLA game was probably going to be sold out. Collier's back. They just got a big win over Utah. They're doing big things, USC, right? And then UCLA is going to go smack them again, right? You want to get those tickets, you go to Gametime because they've got last-minute tickets. At this rate, those tickets are going to be pretty pricey. Flash deals, zone deals. They'll find a flash deal in a good section in Poly to get you in the door with Gametime for that last-minute ticket, because they're obsessed with helping you find ways to save money on tickets. Zone deals, you pick the section, Gametime picks the seats for big-time saves. And they've got the Gametime guarantee. Get the best price. You find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will give you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Right now, Gametime users $100 off a big game ticket with Vegas 100. Or if you're not going to the game, Locked On for $20 off for your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, I'm not happy. I'm frustrated. Of course I'm frustrated. That was a UCLA dub. That was a sweep. The Brooms were out for the week. We've been waiting for this game, circling for a month. I've been wallowing in that day when the Bruins were going to come back, hopefully going to come back and get the dub. They were hopefully going to go do it and get the revenge for the slaughter in Salt Lake City. Instead, little late night, little jab by the Utes, and that's how it goes. All right. So we'll get more information about Sebastian Mack, trying to get into the mindset as to what led to what happened, and the Bruins fell a little short. But we still need to give the support this team needs and deserves in the week leading up to beat SC week. So hands up, 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.